Eat this shit up.
It's a high South takeover. He said it's a high South takeover.
Wherever there's a thriving music scene, regardless of the genre, most of the time there's a lot of history that goes along with it. Houston has had many eras of music to create the foundation to the culture that the fourth largest city in America has today. So in this digital article, we'll go through that history and the key people that played a hand in building it. First person to start off with, of course, is J. Prince. Not only did he lay the foundation for the authentic street reputation that's at the core of the Houston music scene, but he was a pioneer in developing Southern rap. He was one of the first independent rap labels in the South, and his way of thinking is engraved into the fabric of the age. Another person that without a doubt was the most extraordinarily influential is the late great DJ Screw. To some, he is Houston culture. The 90s belonged to him and the Screwed Up Clique. Without him, there would be no Screwed Up Clique, meaning there would be no Fat Pat, Lil Kiki, Big Mo, Big Hawk. There would be no June 27th, which means there would be no SUC-inspired record by Drake called November 18th. There would be no Lil Wayne and Short Dog song called Me and My Drink. And even deeper, there would be no Swisher House, because there wouldn't have been anything for them to musically respond to represent for their side. Meaning that wave of Houston in the mid-2000s more than likely would have never happened. So there wouldn't be a Still Tipping or a Sitting Sideways. A whole cycle of Houston artists was created because of DJ Screw and the sound he created. Like Zero said,
Big bro, every CD in my car say DJ Screw. If you from Houston and you rap, my nigga, he made you.
A person that oftentimes gets forgotten about in the culture of Houston for some odd reason is D-Rec, who was and still is the head of Rec Shop Records. It's impossible to talk about the late 90s and early 2000s of Houston and not mention Rec Shop Records. It was the most powerful record label in Houston aside from Rap-A-Lot. He was able to bring Fat Pat, ESG, Big Pokey, and Big Mo, along with others, to his label for a well-decorated roster. In almost exactly 10 years, from March 1998 to March 2008, D-Rec released 12 charting albums under his label, which highlights his influence on the culture. At a time when Houston music scene was a major factor, he also got into the film game, which was something different coming from Houston, but not from the South, as Master P was next door putting out hood classes of his own. D-Rec, aka Derek Dixon, released Dirty Third 1 and 2, Ghetto Dreams, and Man. D-Rec was before his time, but was a major factor in Houston music scene by putting the artists on and expanding the spotlight on what was going on in the city of Serve. Today, Houston isn't exactly a tourist location as much as it is a place to move and enjoy a little bit of everything, but it is a fixture in pop culture at the current moment, and a Houstonian we can thank for that is Jazz Prince. As most know, Jazz is the son of J. Prince, who was responsible for getting Drake the exposure he needed by getting him over to Cash Money, which essentially resulted in Drake blowing up. So in that situation, Jazz was operating as an A&R by discovering him and introducing him to his father. From there, Drake shined a light on Houston that only someone with his stardom could do. Off the rip in his career, he started mentioning and paying homage to Houston, which placed the city in a pop culture type of realm. When the highest selling artist in the world is shouting you out on a regular basis, that's game changing economically. Ask the owner of V Live how Drake made that club a tourist spot and allowed him to turn that one club into a franchise across the country and turn up the whole Houston nightlife. And that's on the watch of Jazz Prince, because without Jazz, there would be no Drake as we know him today. Yeah, he was already on the TV show Degrassi, but yeah, there would be no Drake without Jazz. The fifth person that's been game changer for Houston culture is Sauce Walka. For a while, people were reluctant to embrace the Sauce because it was so much different from the culture that existed in Houston, despite having songs that were performing well. But as time went on, it became undeniable that this guy was and is special. People often say Sauce Walka and TSF influenced the whole sound of music. Nobody was talking about dripping and Sauce before Sauce Walka. The whole style of TSF is unique in its own right, And to put the icing on the cake, he took the slab culture to another level for the world to see when he put the Maybach on fold.
The slab is complete. Oh, man. On South, man, this is what the city needed, man. This is what the world needs to see, man. What they need to know and understand. Yeah, man. Them Htown niggas really having that money, nigga. On South, nigga.
He embodies the entire culture. The authentic street persona, he keeps a double cup and riding on foes. That's what you call elevating the culture. Mixing the old with the new. Independently, T itself is a powerhouse and is led by Sauce Walker, and he finds a way to bring attention to the city. Whether it's what you describe as good attention or bad, all publicity is good publicity, as it opens up more doors. Houston music history is rich, and the culture is rich. This is just a scraping the surface of it as it's constantly growing and evolving. But what we have is different. It makes us us. You don't have to fall in line with everybody else, because after a while, everybody else gonna fall in line with you. Who's gonna be next to influence the culture? This is Hype South for Htown TV. Until next time, peace.
Eat this shit up.